Hello everyone, this is Huafeng Li. In this short video, we are going to talk about why do people give, then giving motivations. In 2010, Becker and Webkin, they reviewed the literature and come up with 8 mechanisms that they think can explain why people give. So based on what outcome, right? Whether the outcome is tangible or intangible, happen where, within or outside or between people, and who are the actors and who are the targets, they think they can divide all the giving mechanisms into 8. So the first one is need, right? So the social needs, whether or not you realize it, responded to that, right? And the second one is solicitation, whether or not you're being asked. Third one is cost-benefit analysis, right? That includes tax deduction, matching, seed grants, etc., right? As long as that can lower your giving cost, that will increase your giving amount. All right, altruism, that's for obvious reasons, right? So reputation, psychological benefits, and the values, and these are all intangible. Now, the last one, efficacy, it's a perception that whether or not your giving amount gonna actually make a difference in the real world, right? So if you feel that, then you have more higher level of efficacy, then you are more likely to give. But then the other ways to categorize people's donating motivations, for instance, belief in institution and mission, confidence in the leadership, understand the needs and loyalty, gratitude, affection, or peer pressure, right? And experience in terms of volunteer experience or giving experience, or you interned or you sit on the board, depends on the level of your involvement. And also there's other ways to explain why do people give, right? You want to help others, you want to continue a family tradition, be part of a successful story, especially this is connected with your family tradition, etc., right? So, or interact in a community, want to be a community leader, and then through a nonprofit organization, etc. And of course, visibility, reputation, and the external influences. So for individuals, right? We understand that giving motivations are often very complex, right? And there's 2 ways to think about individual giving. Because this is complex, we need to somehow simplify it, right? So if you look individual giving motivations through 2 different approaches, one is altruistic, the other is egoistic. That may help us set up the foundation to understand different mechanisms of giving. So first, altruistic, right? So it is others-centered. So you want to help others and improve the human condition, right? While on the other hand, you have egoistic approach, which is focus on individuals' own gain from the giving behavior, right? Recognition, tax benefits, social position, or etc. So now let's look at the different categories of donors, right? They may vary in terms of giving motivations. So among the wealthy, tax benefits, surprisingly, is not among the top motives. All right. So here, this is a study, Bank of America study among their wealthy clients, and when they give, the highest 3 motives are designed to help, right? Helps, and the responsibility to share, and meet the community needs. Okay, so these are the top 3 motives. And in 2014, so this is also from the Bank of America, and this time changed a little bit, right? But if you look at the top 3, this is self-efficacy, right? Believe that the the donation can make a difference. And personal satisfaction surprisingly increased a lot, right? And then to support the same cause, same organization year after year, it's kind of carries a tradition, right? Either from family or from previous personal involvement. Now, again, if you look at tax benefits, right? So this is on the bottom to receive a tax benefit. So this is not that important as compared to other reasons listed above. Okay, so again, among the wealthy donors, tax benefits could not be the main motive, right? So that has strong and direct implication for tax policy, right? If you want to motivate wealthy donors, then give them tax treat, right? Tax benefits is not a good idea. Maybe you should think about something else. All right, now based on the previous review, we understand that giving motives are quite complex. So can we simplify them? How can we build a foundation to look at these motives in a clear way? Now, one way I'm thinking about is you can start from two approaches. One is egoism, right? So that's self-centered. You have warm growth, you have private benefits, etc., right, to the donors. While on the other hand, you look donations through altruism approach, and these are others-centered, others-oriented. All right, so economists usually refer this to pure altruism and benefits the public rather than the donors. All right, so then you have implications if donors are mixed with egoism and altruism, right? So then you needed to figure out what's the optimal tax rates, tax incentives that you can motivate the majority or most of the donors, right? And also how to set up the matching or seed grants, because that's going to influence the price of giving. And also you need to think about the wealthy donors, right? And we in previous videos we talked about the very poor. They actually give a higher percent of their income than those in the middle class, right? While as for the ultra wealthy, they actually give much higher than all other income level donors. All right, so motives are obviously important, right? Because that's related to how organizations come up with optimal fundraising strategies and how governments set up the tax policy to motivate donors. All right, so in the following section, I'm going to talk about the American and the changing racial ethnic demographics and how that important related to giving motivations. So if you look at the trend, you'll soon realize, okay, this is projected in the light brown part. So by 2050, the Hispanic, Black, and the Asian combined together are going to surpass the white. All right, so the minority, in a sense, minority is not that minority anymore. Okay, so that because minorities giving behavior differ from the whites, then we'll talk about why the motive actually matters here. Okay, so again, this basically shows the percent share of the population 70 and younger. Okay, so basically refers to the kids. So if you look at the number and the change, projected number, again, that performs the same thing. Okay, and now this is the breakdown, right? The population percent share of population aged 18 to 64. So which means they are workforce. Now, if you combine workforce again, it's the same story, right? So the majority is soon gonna be Hispanic, Black, Asian combined together. And again, this is the retired population. Now, this is quite interesting is because white still dominates even by projected number. Okay, so wealthy people. Now, usually we would say when people retire, they tend to accumulate some wealthy than those like fresh graduates, right? Regardless, you have a high school diploma or a college degree, etc. Right? So wealthy people, again, we understand then the priority or their focus is not tax benefits, right? It's something else. They're designed to help people. So now, and the other thing is the immigration trends, right? So this shows the number of immigrants and their share of the total population from 1850 to 2013. Okay, so the blue line represents the number. So as you can see, then the steady increase in terms of number from the 1960s. And the yellow line represents the immigrant share of the total population. Okay, so it soon catches up to 13% in 2020. That's the older projection. Right now, it's about 14% right now. Okay, so what does these changing demographics has to do with giving, right? So the charitable giving under race, ethnicity, if you break them down, right? So the mean levels of charitable giving by whites is 41% more than other racial ethnic groups. So which means white gives more, right? So now we have no clear indication, or so far we don't have very strong empirical evidence to show whether or not Hispanic, Black, Asians combined together, they are going to increase or significantly increase their giving and somehow outnumber the whites in the future. We don't have such strong empirical evidence. Okay, and the other thing is, if formal philanthropy is something that whites are involved in more than members of the other ethnicities, so what are the implications for nonprofits in a country where whites will increasingly continue a minority of population in many cities and the states across the country? So if you look at, for instance, a city like New York, New Jersey, right? So the majority is no longer the whites. It's been Black and Hispanic together, right? So that dominates whites and other races. Okay, so but the previous study, most of them show that white involves more than blacks and Hispanics. Okay, so what does this mean, right? Now, the other thing we also need to consider is the power of ask. Okay, we said, okay, Hispanics, they didn't involve too much, but one of the reasons is maybe because they were never been asked to be involved. All right, so the number shows that 67% of Latino households and 68% of African American households said they had not volunteered or given because they were not asked. All right, so the whites, we would report higher, right? 41% higher involvement is because of they were being asked, or what other reasons, right? So anyway, if the demographic shift, right, continues to happen and whites are not going to be a super dominant social force in terms of population structure, then we need to understand what this change means for giving, right? At least one of the things we can do is to ask the nonprofit organizations to hang out and ask those Latino households and African Americans, and also Asian people as well, right? So maybe that will change or will boost their involvement in philanthropic activities and donations as well. All right, thank you very much. That will be all for this short video.